If you're interested in comic book conservation, please join us on Facebook at the Comic Book Conservation Community, where we have a gathering of experts in the industry, and you can ask all of your questions that you need to know about what you need to do to conserve and preserve these beautiful works of art. Please come join us every Sunday night at 8:35 Eastern Standard Time. You can find Dr. Paul from Liberty Hill Comics, Phantom Phil from Phantom Comic Studios, and myself, Captain Larry from Flying L Comics. We talk about everything comic conservation, so please feel free to ask any question you would like. You can find us at Liberty Hill Comics on YouTube and Flying L Comics on YouTube. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We have a special new project today. Tales of Suspense, number 39. This is the first appearance of Tony Stark and the first appearance of Iron Man, of course. So what interested me in this book was actually the amount of I would call them injuries to the book. So let me run them down. First of all, I want to point out that it has off-white pages, which is great. I really like that. And the one thing it does have that stands out is the book is mostly split through the spine. So this is going to be a conservation project. It's also got some moisture damage that runs throughout the book. This is something we have a little bit of experience removing, depending on what kind of moisture it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the book apart. We're going to deslab it, separate all the pages. And the really cool part about this project, it's going to be a collaboration. Very excited to work with Kenny Sanderson on this. So I'm going to do the interior. We're going to do all the deacidification. And then once that's done, the book will go to Sanderson Studios, where he will leaf cast the spine back together. I know I've done leaf casting work before, but I can't compare it to Kenny. He is literally the gold standard. He is the one that everybody lives up to. He does absolute magic. I refer to him as Gandalf with good reason. And I really, really am happy to share this project with him. So once we get done, we're going to send it off to his studio, and we're going to let him do his magic. So join me next. We're going to go ahead and take the book out of the slab. We'll take a good close look at it and inspect all the wraps. So I'm really happy for you to join me on this journey. All right, let's get started. Okay, let's take a look. This is actually the first time I have ever handled the Tales of Suspense 39. This is a real big deal for me. So let's open this up. Look at that splash page. Isn't that something? So this needs to be cleaned up a bit. Let's see if it's still attached. No, it's fully detached cover. We'll correct that. So what we have going here is this split cover. I'm not going to torment it too much. It's still attached in certain places, maybe? Let's see. Yeah, it looks like. So we'll leave that alone. This is going to go to Kenny Sanderson. So we're very carefully going to lift this. He's going to fill this in. I'm going to go ahead and close that off. You can see the back. It's got some definite cleaning that needs to be done. But we're going to leave this in Kenny's capable hands. All right, so let's take this and we're going to set this off to the side for right now. Okay, what we want to look at is my section. That is just an amazing splash page. Look at that. Isn't that the coolest thing? So let's take a quick look at this. It said moisture damage through the book, and I don't really see anything right off the bat. What we're going to try and do is make sure there's no rust in here. No, this is just really an amazing book to handle. Okay, let's check this out. I'm not seeing this moisture damage they're talking about. This is really an awesome interior. There's a little bit of rust staining around here. Yeah, now the rust is getting a little bit thicker through here. So what we're going to end up doing is taking the staples out, removing the rust stains here, leaf casting where necessary. Okay, now we reach the center of the book. So yeah, these staples are really giving off some iron oxide into the paper. So we'll remove the rust from the paper. Let's continue on through. I'm not seeing any tears, which is really great. Well, this is just really a cool book to handle. Okay. Okay, I think we're ready to move on to our next step. I'm going to safely put this away for now, and we'll save that for when we get ready to mail it out. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do with this, I did a little bit of dry cleaning on the cover already just to get some of the black spots out. Man, it looks really fantastic. But this is our main concern right now, is getting this rust out. So the first thing we're going to do is very carefully, because I don't want to break these staples because they are the originals, is bend these up very gently. And we don't want to go to 90 degrees because that will cause them to snap. Okay, so we're going up to probably like an 80 degree, 70 degree, 80 degree angle on these staple legs. But they are quite rusted. So we are going to chemically treat these to get the rust mitigated and stopped, really. All right, so just doing that nice and gentle. These are ready to go. Okay, so let me take one of these micro papers for right now to lay the staples down on. Looks like I may have bumped the camera. There we go. All right, so these are ready to come apart. So as I've mentioned before, what we want to do is push one leg through, nice and gentle. We don't want to force anything because that tears up the paper. Then we push it through this way, turn it 90 degrees, then rotate it once more, thus preserving the paper and not blowing out anything. So here's our staple. Now, it's very common for the longest leg to be at the bottom and the short leg at the top. That's just the way, the period of time the staples went in and the way they were made. So we're going to set this off to the side here. Now let's take the last staple out, same deal. push the leg through, force it up through here, 90-degree turn, and it's free. There we have again. One leg is longer than the other. So now we can separate these wraps. Let's take a look at this center wrap. This is always the one that is the weakest. It gets blown out. So as you can see here, up close, you can see the tears and the damage to the paper. It has been blown out indeed due to the rust. We'll turn this over, get a better look here. You can see that. There. So we're going to chemically treat this, and we are going to remove the iron oxide, and the holes will be left over. They'll be white, but we're going to have to leaf cast those. So we will be getting all the wraps wet, and so they'll be deacidified, leaf cast in the middle, and then they will be shipped flat to Mr. Sanderson, who will then work his magic on the cover, and then we'll reassemble everything. Let's take a look at this first page. I'm just energized by this first wrap. I mean, look at that. I mean, that is just amazing. And like I said, I did do some dry cleaning on this already. It came out great. I'm really pleased with it. I'll have to do that with the rest of the book. It'll be a bit time consuming, but I think in the end it's going to be worth it. All right. Okay, so let's talk about what we're going to do next. This is the part that makes everybody cringe. This is where we get the page wet. So what we're doing here is I have this first wrap, and we're going to deacidify it. Now, I've already dry cleaned this both front and back, so it gets all the dust particles. We still have a lot of wrinkles in here. We have the rust staining in here. That will have to be removed. But first and foremost, we need to get the acids out of the paper. To give you an idea, I mean, you can see from the tray that it's a little bit off-white. Here's a piece of white paper. You can see the color difference here. So they're still calling this off-white, but it's kind of getting close to tan. So what we're going to do is take the acids out of the paper. We have a piece of Hollytex underneath here, and I'm going to lay another piece of Hollytex over the top. And this is the scary part for all of you. This is calcium hydroxide. It is basically a Tums for your comic books. It's going to pull the acids out, or I should say, for the chemists out there, it's going to neutralize the acids. Right now, an acidic page, especially one of this age and coloring, is probably, and I'm just guessing here, it's probably got a pH level of someplace around 4 to 5. So it's very acidic, where water would be normally about a pH of 7. What we're going to do is pull the acids out, and the calcium hydroxide is going to leave an alkaline reserve. So we're going to elevate the page to someplace around 8.5 to 9 on the pH scale. What that does is that will stop any of the acids from deteriorating any further. As you see in the old books, they start to disintegrate, chip away, because the acid is continually working. So in conservation, what we're doing by pulling that acid out is preserving the book, and it will last 100 years inside a slab. Whereas books that are not deacidified or neutralized will continue to deteriorate to the point where you can't see them. Some of these books have been in their slabs for a long time. You take them out, and you may find that you have a 6 or 7 that was slabbed, 20 years ago. It comes out in shredded pieces, split in half. I had one of those. So this is why we do this. We want to preserve these books. So that's the difference between conservation. Restoration, on the other hand, is restoring it to look like new. That's not what we're doing here. So this is the scary part. We're going to go ahead and just pour this on now. So this is going to immediately start pulling the acids out of the paper and neutralizing. And in this batch, I've also added a little bit of surfactant, or in layman's terms, soap. And it's a special surfactant. It's called Triton X. And what that does, it's a medical grade. There's no fragrances or dyes or anything like that. I do not recommend using dish soap because it contains extra chemicals. This is basically a medical grade level. So we're just going to let this smooth out. It's looking really good. And I'll put my thumbs down here, and we're just going to roll it around and agitate it. That way we make sure we thoroughly have got it throughout the book. Now we're going to let it sit for a couple of minutes. And I normally do about 3 to 5 minutes, so I'm not going to keep the video running for that long. So we're going to pause it right now, and we'll come back to it when it's done. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes now. So what I want to show you is we've pulled our first batch of acids out. So we look down here in the corner, you see how it's turning slightly brown. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to bring in our original cup, and I'm going to pour off what we've done so far. Okay, so I want to give you a little bit of contrast here. Let me get this white paper again, and I'll show you. So you can see the acids in the color change in the runoff. So this is acid from the paper and some dirt. So we're going to empty this out, and we're going to do this one more time. However, it's just going to be straight calcium hydroxide, no soap. It's already been washed. So what we want to do right now is remove the soap. So that'll come next. Okay, so we are now on to our third and final rinse. I did not show you the second rinse because it really wasn't much to it. It's very similar to this. For the most part, we're clear now. So the acids have been removed from this wrap. So we're going to pour those off. And some of you may have been concerned about dimensional change and getting things wet. Well, the next step is to control the dimensional change. Nothing is going to happen to the book right now. It's not going to grow or stretch or do anything. It's wet. It's during the drying process that you got to be careful. Okay, so we poured this off. It's pretty much clear, so we're going to set that off to the side. So here's the trick with drying. To control the dimensional change on this and keep that from happening, really, is it has to be dried under pressure. So in that process, we use blotters, and we use them multiple times. So I have an example of one right here that we're going to use. It's a full-size sheet, and I don't know if this shows up, but it is a 1/8 inch thick blotter. So what I'm going to do is sandwich this wrap in between two blotters, and I'm going to be changing the blotters quite a bit. during the drying process. And if you keep pressure on it, it'll control it. It'll keep it from changing dimensionally. And we'll have it dry shortly. Okay, so what we've got now, the wrap has been deacidified. It's a little bit cleaner. It's nice and flat. Our biggest issue that we're going to address right now is the rust that's right here. So we're going to use two chemicals on it. We're going to use, the first chemical is a clear chemical here. It only has a 15-minute working life, so you have to be quick about it. So it's called sodium dithionite. And what it does, rust is basically made up of iron compounds that become chemically stable over time. Sodium dithionite temporarily changes those compounds into a form that's easier to remove. You want to think about it as loosening the rust's grip on the paper. It doesn't bleach or stain at all, so that was part of also cleaning the dirt and everything out first. But what I'm going to do, because it does remove rust, and some of the early colors, such as the red in here, quite possibly could be made out of iron oxide. They use that in the Golden Age, and sometimes it carries over. So what I've got here is a piece of a blotter. I'm going to place it right here, and so that I'm going to press down so when the fluid goes in, it pulls through, it gets into the rusty areas, and the excess will go into that blotter. And then I have another piece right here that I'm going to press down on top of it just to make sure it doesn't spread into the surrounding areas. So we're going to go ahead and just take a Q-tip, dip it in, and I'm just going to gently roll it right here where the rust is. This actually works pretty well. It does evaporate fairly quickly. Trying to give it a good soaking. And the stuff that won't loosen or convert, or it's so deeply in the paper, will actually release the rusted area. It will actually break away. You can see some of it, the really dark areas right here. It's doing exactly that. Okay. So far it's not spreading out too much. It's looking pretty good. I'll let it do its thing and let it work. And I'm going to take this other piece here. I'm going to slide it right underneath there. Now you notice how dark this is getting up here. It is having a solid reaction. I'm going to keep it damp so it doesn't dry out. That's not something we want. Okay, let that sit for a minute and not mix these up. So the next chemical we're using is called EDTA, which is a very long chemical name, which I'm not going to try to pronounce. And what that does, it allows the rust particles that have now been loosened from the paper to come up. So as I'm doing this, I can press on this and I can see that they're pretty solidly in there. So what's going to happen here is wherever we see that dark rusty area, it's going to release, but it's considered like rotten paper. I think that's the best way to describe it. And if you're worried about tide lines, don't. We're going to wash it one more time, and it should be just fine. And I'll show it to you afterwards. One thing, when we rinse the books as much as we do, they lose their sizing, which this one has too. It's floppy, like almost like a paper towel, not quite though. So we need to resize it, but only after we get the leaf cast in to fill the voids where the staples would go. Okay, as you can see, the dark rusted area was excised out. That was cut out because it's just solid. It's nothing but solid iron oxide. But the cloudy gray areas that were there before, they're now gone. So now we're going to take this and put this into another bath. We're going to put some leaf casting in here, and then we're going to give it some more sizing, and the page will be done. Okay, you'll notice that all of the areas that could not be converted, the paper basically is removed and extracted. The that gray blackish area that were around the staples, that was the iron oxide that was able to be lifted out of the paper. Now, to give you an idea, let me slide this piece of white paper underneath here so we get a better look at everything. So what we're going to do is this will get filled in with leaf cast here shortly. Same down here. And we're going to do both sides. So we'll cast from the back side first, the fill in, because this paper is thin. So this will get some fill here. It'll blend in very nicely with the color of the pulp. And then afterwards, we'll put it through here in the front side. And then we're going to resize the paper using a mixture of methyl cellulose. All right, let's continue on. If you liked today's video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe. That way you can get a notification when I have a new video coming out or a follow-up to this one.